Oh my goodness. What are these stock market bulls doing? With yet another record close and a target hit, is it time to think about selling? This will matter because Jerome Powell finished his first day of testimony today, and he is going to be speaking again tomorrow. But the title of today's video says target hit. So what exactly am I talking about? I'm talking about the all-time high down to the bear market low and a mathematical extension, which gets us to 499 on QQQ. Here's the part that gets it a little bit complicated. Look at the number H up here. What does it say? 500.00. What does that mean? It means we hit exactly 500 and then backed off. So if the target's now been hit and we got some ice up here or an iceberg, what's going to happen? Is it time for a crash? That's exactly what I want to talk about today. So Jerome Powell spoke, markets moved, but basically the market didn't really care. Why? Because nothing really happened. There's key takeaways from Jerome Powell today. All I want to do is focus on one bullet point, though. It's this one here. Markets basically had a muted move. Why? Jerome Powell did not give any near-term signals on policy. Stocks hovered at all-time highs, blah, 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 blah. In this case here, boring is perfectly good, and it's bullish. We talked about that yesterday. And now here's the important thing. Why? Well, because we talked about the NASDAQ hitting its 161 extension and hitting exactly $500.00. And now the S&P is within 1% of getting to that 5,600 target. So if chips lead tech and tech lead SPY, is S&P actually going to be able to hit its number, or is only the NASDAQ going to make it there? We're looking for 561 on the S&P for that same all-time high, the bear market low, and extension back up to 561. We're really close. And we've been talking about exactly what feedback we want to see to know the market's going to go lower. So stay tuned if you want to see that at the end of the show. So Jerome Powell spoke, market didn't really care. But as we know, according to history, over the last roughly 100 years, the first 15 days of July have been incredible, right? The best 2-week trading period all year. But on July 17th, which we're now getting closer to, things might change. So what are we looking for? I'll give you the quick little preview here because I think this will be important. If we go to the NASDAQ here, QQQ, I want you to pay attention to one pattern here. What is it? It's just a hollow candle. After we form a full candle, what do? Low, higher, low, higher, low, higher, low, higher, low, higher, low. What does that mean? Expansion. What do we also do? Close over the candle high 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in a row. You're probably going to recognize this pattern because I talk about it frequently, but now we have a full candle, which means we closed lower than we opened. This does not really matter because we're still in an uptrend, but if we print a daily lower low tomorrow, we could be heading back down to support at roughly 485. On the flip side, if we hold a higher low and we print a higher high, we're going to be over that 500 area. Why? Because today's high of the day is 500.00. If we form a daily higher high, we're going to be over that. Please remember, we also talked about the potential for a failed breakout, not only on the weekly chart, but we've been specifically looking at the monthly chart. So let's just go here to make the story a little bit simpler. We're going to lose the weekly chart first, but to keep the story a little bit simple, all we need to do is focus on one number. What is it? For the NASDAQ, it's 488. Why? Because if we're over 488, we have that exact same pattern. Hollow, over the candle high, currently over the candle high. If we remain over that candle high, it's bullish. So is it time to sell? Hey, if you want to try to top dig, please go ahead. What I would do is wait for at least a little bit of confirmation by what? Falling back below last week's high. That's going to be here at 496.6. We basically have to drop by just over $1. If we can't drop by $1, how are we going to come back down to 470s or 20 points lower? Man, I don't know. So weekly chart has to break first, and then we have to break the monthly chart. So 488 is the only number that matters for the NASDAQ. For the S&P, it's 550 and 551. If we're over 550.29, I'm rounding it up to 551. We remain in a monthly higher high over resistance, just like every previous time, right? Over the candle high, over. Get a full candle, a little bit of a correction or a dip, and then right back to the same thing. Hollow candles over candle highs. Extremely bullish. People don't seem to believe it, but making money has been easy right now. It's been a slow melt higher, and the market just doesn't seem to want to stop. So if it's time to sell, I would really suggest you wait for at least a little bit of feedback. What would the earliest feedback be? Well, like I just said, that would be falling below last week's high at 555.05 and closing the candle below there. It's not enough just to fall back below it. We have to lose it. And before that happens, we're likely also going to see the S&P crack on the one-day chart. What do I mean by crack? Full candles. We got full candles. If we see another one tomorrow and we print a lower low, then we could be below that 555 area. Why? We only have to drop by about $1. So in case you've missed it, both the S&P and the NASDAQ have to drop by about $1 to start cracking the daily and weekly charts. We're not going to fall on the monthly time frame unless we crack those charts first. So before we go further, I'm going to ask you for a huge, huge favor. If you could please consider smashing that thumbs up or subscribing to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. Please also remember that if we do drop, we're probably going to want to buy the dip. Why? Because history tells us so. When the S&P is higher by more than 10% at the middle point of the year, we have an 82% chance we're going to be higher. We're looking for roughly 600. Look to the next stat. It's basically the same thing. After we have more than 20 record closes so far this year, by the way, today we had another one. At the end of the year, there's an 80% chance we're higher, and basically the same thing, 6% or almost 10%. The market wants to go up. And what's really interesting is that we've actually cooled off fear and greed. A month ago, we were neutral. A week ago, we were neutral. Yesterday, we were neutral. But the market's not neutral. Over the last 30 days, we're up by 2.4%, right? The market just keeps going up and up and up. And there's more than $6.1 trillion in money market funds. There was actually an increase into the end of June, which means that people are worried about the market. They're like, I don't know about the stock market thing. Seems like a casino. I'm taking my money. I'm going to money markets. I don't know if they're going to regret that, but at least for now, that is fuel that could drive the market even higher. Who are the gainers today? Well, it's not the entire market. If we go to no group, it's Nvidia, it's Tesla, it's Eli Lilly. And this is where it gets really interesting because as we look forward to the end of the week, we got Jerome Powell again tomorrow. We got a 10-year auction. And then on Thursday, we got really important data. We got the inflation numbers coming in. I think these are going to be bullish. Why? 0.2 is good. It's not great. I'd rather see 0.1, but hey, we're going to take what we're dealt. This is getting closer to 2. This is an important number, even if the Fed doesn't track it. Why? More evidence that they can cut. And then we got a 30-year bond auction along with a 10. And on Friday, we got PPI. So what that basically means is that I told you that we need to make sure we watch the weekly chart. I think, right? I'm confident, at least for me. And again, I'll flip-flop like a flapjack if I get evidence I'm wrong. But I think we're going to close over by Friday, which means if we do dip, I'm likely going to be buying it. I want to see what that weekly candle closes out because I think these numbers are going to be really bullish. But remember, we also have bank earnings coming out on Friday. So the plot thickens. There's always things to worry about. And if we look here just really fast at XLF, what are we doing? Well, we're not going to the moon into earnings. We've actually done a digestion period. Into what? A cup with a handle. And we're currently back above our all-time high, which means it might actually be even easier for us to go higher. With that said, thank you very much for tuning in. I wish you the best of luck. If you want to hang out with me tomorrow, that's at 9:15. If not, click on the left or I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks so much.